Well, I really wish I could be a political leader at a high level to make a extremely huge change in the world regarding the politics of war. And I am confident that I have the best idea of all, a very rarely mentioned idea. And this video is not, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of editing with this. This is just to throw my idea out there soon. This is version 1, and I will in the future make a more professional video. So I am a Green Party um, believer, or that's the party I am in. Second choice would be Independent. Third choice would be Democratic. Maybe a toss up between Democratic and Independent. But anyway, so my independent idea about war, the solution is very anti-militaristic. I think that it appears there are benefits of war, such as rapidly developing technology, but that's false. And that is because when we do that, it's true, we are advancing more quickly than normal to develop new technologies, but we're not ready for it because we're too much of a savage species. And so we're not responsible enough to handle that, as evidenced by the way we have destroyed our environment, largely as a result of utilizing technologies that we have developed through science, which I believe in science, but the pace of development has been far too quickly, not giving a chance to study the effects of burning fossil fuels to power equipment to the extent that we have was a bad idea. The Industrial Revolution is a good idea in general, but the pace for it being applied for billions of people to have a higher standard of living has been too quickly, because we haven't found a way to achieve that sustainably. That's the key word, sustainable. We as a species have not sustainably adapted to the Industrial Revolution. And I'm saying all this ad lib. I haven't written any of this very much, and what I'm saying is just coming from my heart. This is not coming from other sources. This is all very original. And like I said, I'm going to look forward to making a more professional version of this, but I wanted to just get this out there and see what uh, you have to say. I anticipate mostly trolls are going to attack me, and that's just going to prove how savage the human race is and prove my point that for we're still not ready for the Industrial Revolution at the scale that it has been implemented. So what is my solution? I haven't even said it yet. The solution is, instead of putting a massive amount of resources, which are primarily coming from tax money, into the war machine, into the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and what are the other ones? Coast Guard. Well, Coast Guard is not relevant in this case, so it's pretty much Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. Uh, this is a very sensitive topic, because without them, uh, you could probably predict we would be taken over by Russia or China or maybe even another country. Without the armed forces, then of course somebody would take us over. If we just play Mr. Nice Guy and say, well, we drop all of our armed forces, please don't take us over. That's not going to cut it. They're going to take us over. So what do? My solution is a 5% per year reduction in the armed forces and a 5% per year increase, here it is, in peace communications. My background, my college degree, I have two college degrees. The first one, the bachelor's degree I have, is in communications, not in technology. It's not so much communications as far as technology, but rather human communication. And using that qualification, I'm here to say that's what the solution is to get out of being a savage race and into um, a, a race worthy of having dominance over the earth. Currently, humans are not worthy of being the dominant race. The the made up Holy Bible says something about we have dominance over all animals. That's one of the that's probably could be the main reason why I'm anti-Bible, in the sense of I don't believe the Bible should be taken literally. I think the Bible is great as a fictional story, and it does have some good moral points that are nonfiction. It's a combination of nonfiction and fiction. Some of the stories are probably true, most of them are made up. Anyway, so let's get back to my political point of what is the solution. So I've given you a strong hint what the solution is. We need to reduce military spending, and I have a kind of an ulterior motive why I want, well, not ulterior motive, but a, a side motive as to why I want that is I look at war as a terror against the environment. It is mostly overall extremely bad for the environment. And so, um, yeah, war is stupid, and it makes us savage. And so I always make these videos late in the evening when I'm tired. I was at the USS Hornet in Oakland, California today. I spent 5 hours in that war machine, and most of the time I was thinking, this was a stupid idea. This was not the solution to World War II. All that effort they put into that war machine, they should have put into better communications with our adversaries. So how do you do that? Well, it's common sense. You simply find the best qualified people to be in charge of the peace department. At least the United States should have a Department of Peace and Communications, or rather, I would say, since this is so new and creative and radical, I'm having to make this up as I go. I would call it the Department of Peaceful Communications or Department of Peace, something like that. Try to keep it short. Maybe the Department of Peace would be an overall summary, or Department of Peace and Communications. That's kind of long. Department of PC, or CPE, Communications and Peace. Well, put in the comments, please, what you think it should be called. I guess the shortest version would be Department of Peace, or yeah, as far as another competitive entity, the antithesis of the Department of War is what it needs to be. So we need to decrease the Department of War. The national defense spending should be decreased, and that money diverted towards something like the Department of Peace. And the Department of Peace should be very, very heavily filled with personnel who are expert communicators, particularly skilled with other countries. And so colleges around the country will create new programs such as the department or college departments called Department of Peace also. So they will have degree programs such as a associate of world peace, or um, bachelor of world peace, master of world peace, a doctor of world peace. Why? I've never even heard of that before. Why is there not a degree in world peace? Wouldn't that make sense to be the most needed degree of all? Because if we have a bachelor of engineering, a bachelor of nursing, blah blah blah, business, that's all pointless if there's no future for the human race past the year 2100 or whatever. Because at this rate, the doomsday clock, etc., are indicating we are close to annihilating ourselves, extinction of the human race. So we need a Department of Peace, world peace majors in college, free online degrees for world peace. Let's pull those, let's interview those graduates for positions in the U.S. Department of Peace, funded by funds diverted from the Department of War. So, of course, the question is that going to work? Well, that's a subjective, there'll be a subjective answer to that. It's worth trying. To have a arms race is not the solution. That's stupid and savage. Um, that's really bad. Another alternative I have is genetic engineering. That is even more controversial. So the idea there is perhaps the human race should be more genetically engineered to be more peaceful. That's another alternative. I'm not saying we should do that. What I'm saying is we should look into that. So we should have another department of genetic engineering research, not that department to be suspicious of changing the human race, but rather look at that objectively as an idea to save our race. And no action would be taken unless voters decide what to do about that. That's just extraordinarily controversial. So I'm going to get lots of feedback about that, I'm sure, ranging from trolls saying some really bad things to people. I would say the minority would say that's a good idea. So let me get back to my main point: is to have communicators. So what we need are multilingual, super intelligent people who, there are plenty of them. There are lots of people who are multilingual, excellent people in communication. We need to put those people up on a pedestal. We should have somebody like that as president, actually. If I'm not if you don't put me in as president eventually, someone like that should be, someone needs to be, well, I'm talking about the president of the United States in particular. Um, we need a super multilingual person with excellent communication skills and level-headed. That should be, we just need a super ultra mega awesome, we need the best communicator we can get as president. That would be the antithesis of Donald Trump. The opposite of Donald Trump would be somebody who's a tactful communicator who increases the amount of allies we have. That is the opposite of Donald Trump. Somebody who makes world leaders excited to communicate with us, and not because we will uh, well, Donald Trump has succeeded in being buddies with Putin and a few other um, what are they called, dictators who are uh, really bad dictators. That's who Donald Trump specializes in. We do need to, I hate to say it, we do need to do what Donald Trump is doing, communicate well with, well, he's not communicating well, he's communicating with them. We, we need to communicate with all world leaders, particularly the ones who are the biggest threat to us. So we need communicators in this new department who are also some kind of psychiatrists. We also need psychiatrists who can read these other world leaders to determine whether they're sincere about getting along with us. So instead of feeding the war machine, I was in the army, and I'm against it. I got out early. I was only in 2 years. I didn't want to serve the 4 years, so I found a way out honorably, discharged early, which was I was told that couldn't be done, but I found a way through a family hardship discharge. And so what I'm getting at is, yeah, even though I was in the army and I didn't cause a problem, I am anti-army for the most part. Now, I'm not saying completely defund the military immediately. This will, just like green energy from getting off of fossil fuels, we do that slowly, but yet as rapidly as practical, because we don't want to cause more harm than good that would discredit us. In other words, switching from coal to nuclear, if you did that extremely quick and you don't have anywhere for the coal workers to get, how are they going to get new jobs, as the Green New Deal outlines, that would backfire. So we don't want any backfire. We want to have the equivalent of the Green New Deal, but rather something like the communicative New Deal. We're going to be mega successful communicators with other countries, not just the leaders of those countries, but what we're going to do is set up channels of communication through social media and etc. And this isn't going to push propaganda, no propaganda intention. This is going to create new methods of communicating well. And so we need to also have technology innovators step in who can, and Google's doing this, has this implemented a little bit, translators. We need better translation systems this is kind of getting into science fiction. So we need to turn vocal translators into reality where, for example, this video would automatically be translated into Russian. So if I want this to reach Russians, they would hear it in Russian without a person translating it. It would be a computer that's super smart to automatically translate it. That's definitely going to be coming up if we can survive that long. So the two primary ways I know humans to survive in the indefinitely is going to be better communication with each other and possibly, I'm not saying to do it, I'm saying to look into it, that it's possible we may not survive unless we genetically alter ourselves so that humans don't have a savage war mentality uh, that develops. In other words, it would be virtually impossible for these new genetically engineered babies to grow up into someone who could pull the trigger on a gun. They just couldn't do it. That might be the key. That might even allow us to be the only intelligent species in the whole universe that didn't destroy itself. Because a lot of scientists believe the main reason we haven't been visited, there's no evidence we've been visited by ET, is because all intelligent life destroys itself. The the only the key to passing the filter that no other intelligent life has gone through might be to genetically engineer ourselves to get past that filter, to not destroy ourselves, genetically engineering ourselves. We may be the first intelligent species to ever achieve that. That might be what's necessary. I don't know for sure. I have a really strong feeling that that would be a good idea. So, although in general I'm all for the natural process of nature, if we want to live indefinitely, now we may need to genetically engineer ourselves. So, the Earth has, scientists have determined the Earth has about 4 to 5 billion years left before the sun will engulf it. There's no way we're going to make it another couple, even a couple hundred years at our current path. So something drastically has to change. And I believe both communication, definitely communication. I'm not saying just look into it, I'm saying actually do it. And then possibly genetically engineering. Well, I'll say probably genetic engineering ourselves is the solution for us to live indefinitely. And so that's pretty big. It's a difference between us living another 50 to 200 years or forever. And because if we can get past our savagery and get along and no longer have weaponry on the planet, then we're geared towards focusing on space exploration, which means colonizing in other solar systems, which I'm aware that's extraordinarily challenging and difficult. But if we can eliminate all of our efforts into war and defense and put that towards space exploration, I am confident, as I think Elon Musk would be also, we can get off this, some of us can get off this planet and colonize not just Mars, but other solar systems and possibly other galaxies, such that when the sun engulfs this solar system, we will still survive in other parts of the universe. And that's how we can live forever. But perhaps nothing can live forever due to entropy, blah, blah, blah. But at least it'll extend our presence in the universe as uh, as the possibly the most successful, intelligent life, which could be phenomenal considering there are uh, trillions of other, there are likely billions or possibly trillions of other Earth-like planets in just this one universe. And then we can get into, well, there may be more than one other universes, and even so many universes that there is me talking about this with a red colored NASA shirt in another universe. That sounds crazy to us right now, but it's possible. All right, well, I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you're a troll, you're just going to make your Trump supporting enclave look even dumber. So and prove my point that we are too savage and we need to look into genetically engineering ourselves to eliminate people leaving comments that this is a bad idea, because it's those kind of people who are the biggest threat to our civilization and preventing people like me from moving up the ladder of success to guide us in the right direction. Whew. That's pretty incredible that I just kind of made all that up as I went. Because I made it up, that doesn't mean it's a bunch of BS. It's not. It's what I believe, and I have not prepared for this video. I've never made another video. This is the first video I've made like this. I'm 50 years old, and so I've been thinking about this a while, that I need to make a video like this, but I've been wondering, well, I want to make it perfect and spend a lot of time editing it. So today I decided I've just got to put this out there and get a time stamp date on it, um, that this has been a warning to humanity since October 10th, 2019. Um, I've already put a warning out to humanity in the year, I think it was late, and sometime in 2014, that we humans are creating the sixth mass extinction. And people like Greta Thunberg have come across videos like this. Perhaps it was mine. She has mentioned that her research on the internet has made her the person she is, and so I'm really happy about her. And so I'm kind of the Greta Thunberg of this category, that I am part of the earth, and when I die, I'm going to be recycled back into earth, and I want to be put back into a good earth, not an earth where humans go extinct and my legacy, as well as other good people, is pointless because we destroyed ourselves 50 years from the time I made this video, because people like you didn't listen to me. So I'm hoping you listen to me and pass this video on to others, as long as it is. It's kind of a lengthy video, but I don't think I've wasted a lot of time in it. I think I've made some really great points, and I will be thinking about how to make some condensed versions of this video. Somebody needs to make a good cartoon of this one candidate who I'd like to hire to do this would be Steve Cutts, Cutts. I invite you to watch some of his other videos about humanity. He needs to make a video about this. Well, he has, but um, uh, geared towards the topic of cutting out military and increasing communication. That would be great for humanity. It would be great for the environment if we can all. It's basically about peace and getting along. That's been. I'm certainly not the first person to say, "Can't we just all get along?" But I feel like I'm the first to say it this way. How to do it is I'm not the first person to say cut out military and increase communication, but one of the first to word it, to say all this stuff that I've said in this video, I think is pretty unique and creative. Definitely not the first to think of this, but this is one of the first videos to say it in this unorthodox manner that I've had, that I think should be taken very seriously and promoted. Not exactly the way I've said it. I could say it a lot. I could say it differently. So the way I've said it all is not perfect, but it's a start. So we need to take what I've said and turn it and improve on it. For example, um, if you can come up with a better way to do it, uh, to achieve the primary goal of diverting, uh, reducing military and increasing communication and peace. I mean, that's what, that's the primary. What I'm saying is kind of a contradiction. I'm saying it's been a very old topic, particularly since the 1960s, to reduce war and increase peace. But it's not said very often how to do it in the way that I think is the solution. Is reduce military. Yeah, that's a very common suggestion. But increase, create a department of communication and peace. That's pretty rare. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that before. I think it's because people are scared to say it. It's so radical. It's so expensive. It would just take it would take a huge effort to do that. It's so strange that people just can't wrap their heads around it. So I'm inviting you to take it in. How long has this video been going? It's getting pretty long. So I'm going to stop the video and just invite you to take over from here. You now have an ethical obligation. Oh my God, it's over a half hour to now that you've been informed, to spread it. And um, so for all of you trolls, please dislike the video. Please leave please leave some really negative comments, and uh, yeah. So for you who like it, do the opposite of what the trolls would do. Thanks. I'll talk to you again soon.